So this is another comments section, and I've had someone actually contact me via email with a comment which is very long, and I'm going to read it all out because it's quite interesting. Someone that I met in 2006 at Speaker's Corner, and I've met him a few times. I think his name is Thomas, and he's American, and this is what he's written. He's saying, "You invite others to speak. I hope I can offer something, as you have given me so much to think on. I'd just like to hear you say more about the positives of living. You're not wrong on the negatives, but I think if you don't appreciate some positives, you are missing something. I do agree it will be better to help the child inside and the children in need than to bring in any more children unnecessarily. Why DNA programs us to do so, I'll pose a theory in just a second. First, let me say, my wife broke the mold and broke the code. In a way, I did too, but primarily because I married her. She never wavered in all the times I've known her from her stance on not having children. I used to feel like I'd be happy either way. Now I feel more glad we didn't. We do take care of dogs and lonely rescues at that." So we just want your response to that, firstly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, very nice comment. What it is, if you listen back to our podcast, I think it's a few backs, maybe 6 or 7. We do quite a few, so I can't remember which one it was. We need to name them, number them really, so we know I can reference them. But we have spoken about the positives. That we are enjoying positives while we're here ourselves, and we listed what they are. Music, dance, fun, all the rest of it, laughter, fragrance, everything.
Sea,
sun, sea, the whole thing. See, so it is to be enjoyed whilst you're here. You see, whilst you're here, for sure, you have to maximise the time you have here. I'm a minimum
for others, service.
For sure, service. Minimalism is what I'm into. So I love the kind of trying to, bespoke my life so that it's very efficient. I like flow, see, so I try to eliminate friction. And I find minimalism does that to a great extent. The less you need on the outside, the greater the satisfaction will be on the inside. I find that equation seems to work for me. And I think it would work for everybody. I think that's the trouble we've got now in this culture, or this cult of consumerism. Everybody's looking outside for stimulus and not looking inside. You've got a great resource inside. People are not mining it because they've been steered towards the external instead of the internal. The Buddhists, meditation is their thing. Why? Because they're trying to feed the child within, as I always say. Why breed when you've already got an inner child to feed? And it doesn't just mean feed in terms of nutrition. It means, mental food, everything, the whole thing. Aesthetic food, feeding of all kinds. Once you've fed that inner child, that is a potential child in all of us, you'll find you won't need, it would stand down the need for the external child. This is the great magic of going within to find your stimulus. You'll find that there is a child that's lacking in nutrition, all kinds of nutrition of every kind, and it needs nurturing. And this is the parenting that we should all be doing. Before you look to produce another child on the outside, make sure that you're raised properly. And the only person that can really raise yourself properly is yourself.
I actually would add to that, and I don't think you can do it yourself. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to push back on that. I don't think you can do it yourself. I think you can only do it with the help of other people, which is what we're doing here, trying to help each other, co-counselling each other. So yes, I agree. Only you can do it. You have to have the will to do it. Only, if I don't have the will to look inside and nurture that little child, then it's not going to happen for sure. But you need help. I need help to do it, because sitting here by myself is very difficult. And I also wanted to relate to the last bit of the paragraph, in which he says about his wife, and she's been steadfast, and I commend that. I think that is these women, particularly women, in my opinion, are heroes. They are amazing, because women in our society, firstly they've got the equipment, so they've got the equipment, and they've got these seem to have this drive and desire to use that equipment, right? That's the first thing. And then secondly, in society, treats these women so badly and looks down on them with sympathy. Oh, it's such a shame that you can't have a child. We had someone here recently who took it as a kind of an affront that she thought we'd suggested that she might have not been fertile. We didn't say anything. We just said we were talking about whether she had children by choice or not, and she was, oh yes, I'm definitely fertile. You know, so you've got this whole thing about fertility and about being a mother, and so if you've got a woman like that he's married, and she stayed steadfast, right, in she hasn't wavered, I would say, wow, you chose very, very well, or you were very lucky, or whatever it is. And these women, in my opinion, should be given medals in the society that we live in, and up against their own DNA. So I just wanted to add that. I'm going to carry on reading now. I'd like to hear what you think happens after we die. I'll give you my personal take. I'm sure it's not new. I'm also sure saying certain things that are deep or incomprehensible to our limited minds, come out sounding much stupider when we put them into words. But I believe in a great spirit. Call it whatever you like, God, higher power, the divine. I believe it exists. Everything in the universe had to start somewhere. You can explain everything away, but eventually you get to some inexplicable source that had to have initiated something, the spark. That's the great spirit. And that spirit is in everything that is created in the universe. It's in all things, living and non-living, rocks, water, plants, animals, humans, stars, everything. In every, is every single thing mapped out? No. Much, if not all of it, is just a colossal experiment or accident or mistake gone completely rogue. Life is basically a trial. It's the spirit living out the game. We're all connected by this spirit. It's in all of us, everyone and everything. There's no greater artist than the divine. Just look at the beauty, the destruction, the tragedy and comedy everywhere. Humans just happen to be the most sentient beings on earth. We look deeper than all other creatures on this planet. We create art like the Great Spirit has, because that spirit is in us and we appreciate it. We strive for it. We yearn for it. It's something that connects us. Love is another divine act that can't be put into words. Yes, sometimes, if not most of the time, it's just a chemical reaction in our brains, but sometimes it's beyond that. So you wanted to comment on something that he said, yes?
Yeah. He said what happens after life. Well, the same thing that's happened before we come into existence, which is potential, absolute potential. So imagine that we are stepped down energy. So we seem solid, but we're just energy in a crystallized, a stepped down form. So what will happen after death is that it will just dissipate and return to source. That's all. There's no problem with that. We come from the source, we're stepped down energy. As the energy steps down in intensity, then form appears. That's what appears to be going on. Nobody actually knows what's happening, but that's the best guess, is that there is a potential field of energy that is, I see life and all material form as dissonance in the field. It's a form of dissonance. So when you die, the dissonance is dissipated, and you're back to the potential field. You're back to the energy potential field. So there's nothing there. There is nothing there, which is fine. No thing exists in the potential field. It only can exist if there's dissonance in that field, which is maybe what happened. They don't know what happened. They call it the Big Bang. Some disturbance took place to the field. That's all we can kind of conceive with our minds. So that seems to be the case. There was nothing at one stage, no thing, not nothing, no thing. There was no thing, but there was some kind of potential. There has to be something for things to come from. So then this is where the physicists get stuck. Then what came before? No. Just stop at the potential field. That's what I've done. To stop this infinite regress, I've stopped it at a potential field of energy. And then you're right, energy exists in everything. But it's a dense form of energy, so it appears as solids. After death, after the solid dissipates, the energy leaves this and it starts to dissipate. We're gone. We don't have no personality anymore, but we probably exist as one field. We return to the field. So there's no need for distress. There's no need for a divinity either. That explains it. No divinity is required. It's an emergent phenomena, life, and it will dissolve and return back to source. Entropy will take everything to pieces. It's doing it right now as we speak. Entropy's at work. Entropy eats all. It eats everything. We can see that. It's evidenced on the ground. No thing can last forever. Nothing. So be okay with that. So that puts an emphasis on your time here. You've only got a finite little small amount of time here, so maximize it. Bespoke a life that you're really proud of. That's what I try to do. Just bespoke your life. Don't take directives from outside. Try to think and feel your way into life, and you'll find it to be a magical life. You create yourself. You're the director of your life. You have to take control of it, because the culture of consumerism will lead you outside. So again, why breed when you've already got a child to feed? You've already got an inner child to feed. Find that inner one and then make a relationship with that inner one, and then everything's magical. You'll live as a magical child. Raise that child properly and everything will be beautiful. You'll have a nice life while you're here. But don't cling to that life while you're here. Live here loosely, knowing that you're going to return to the potential field afterwards and everything's good.
Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit because it's quite a long piece, and I think you may have some things to say about stuff that I've already read. So I'm going to go back. So he's saying that the inexplicable source that had to have initiated something, that he calls the spark. That's the great spirit, he calls. And that spirit is in everything that is created in the universe. It's in all things, living and non-living, rocks, water, plants, animals, humans, stars, everything. Okay. So he's saying, is every single thing mapped out? No. Much of it, if not all of it, is a colossal experiment or accident or mistake gone completely rogue.
Yep.
Life is basically a trial. Now this bit I find difficult. It's the spirit living out the game. We're all connected by this spirit. It's in all of us, everyone and everything. There's no greater artist than the divine. No. Just look at the beauty, the destruction, the tragedy and comedy everywhere.
Yeah, he's taken an unnecessary leap there.
Sorry.
He's taken an unnecessary leap with the divine thing. It's just emergent. It's an emergent phenomena. There's no need for a creator or a designer or anything. This is Christian talk or religious talk. This is what they believed. They could only frame it that way because they didn't understand. Now we understand emergent phenomena. It's just emergent and it's building as it goes. It's responding to feedback. There's feedback loops which change the direction of things and it goes off on a tangent, and this is what's happening. It's fine. No need for a designer or some intelligence behind it, or it's just emergent.
I would go. I would say not a bit go further, but I would add to it that it's if you really have to go down that route of saying divine, what my question is, as we've said quite a few times on this podcast, is that, but if that's what you call divine, then that divine must be sadistic and sick to create this. You say life. You say that there's no greater artist than the divine. What a sick artist that is! If that is the case, that's one sick artist, really, to create this madness with all the suffering. If you're assuming the divine is some kind of moral agent, then it would have to be completely blind or sadistic. There's no morals. It's immoral. Yeah. It would be immoral. Completely unethical. It would have to be immoral because of the evidence on the ground when you look. All the suffering and the killing, and it's embedded in life. It's what life is. And it's random. It's not. It wasn't that way originally, so you could argue that it's gone wrong. Originally, there were simple life forms that were not sentient, so there was no pain. The door for pain was opened by the oxygenation event and the mutation that took place. And then heterotrophy came into existence. There was autotrophy at first. There was just cells, single-celled organisms that fed from the sun. So it was quite simple. And there wasn't any pain and suffering as we know it now. But because of this spread of novelty, as McKenna said, now you've got the door's been opened for pain. Sentient life forms, complex life forms emerged, and with that pain and suffering came in. So you could argue that it wasn't always this way, and this is a fallen state, see, but nevertheless, if there was an omniscient divinity behind it all, it would have known this would happen. So it would have to be an immoral agent that would have allowed this to take place. Or, as you say, an artist. So if the artist was omniscient, it would have known that this is the way that its sculpture would have taken this turn and this form. So it would have not even bothered to make the art in the first place. If it was omniscient, because it would have seen it already, would have already been able to see the steps
and see the degradation of its art into this. And it would have said, no, I'd rather not make the art, and then stood down from the actual action. So...
Okay, so he then goes on. Humans just happen to be the most sentient beings on Earth. We look deeper than all other creatures on this planet. We create art like the Great Spirit has because that spirit is in us and we appreciate it. We strive for it, we yearn for it. It's something that connects us. Love is another divine act that can't be put into words. Yes, sometimes, if not most of the time, it's just a chemical reaction in our brains, but sometimes it's beyond that. Is it? I don't know about that. No. Philosophizing is the spirit trying to remember itself even though it's in a living being. We all have the spirit in us from the day our first cells begin to form, and when we die that spirit just returns to the Great Spirit. But life constantly seems to beget more life. It's in that code, reproduce. Just as the universe continues to expand, life continues to produce until a circumstance occurs from a tremendously long sequence of cause and effect events that leads to the annihilation of a species, but then a new species is created. Yes, and on an individual level we can stop it, but on the whole it's impossible without a cataclysmic event. Are these events planned? Again, I say no. They just happen out of the trillions of experimental, accidental, mishap expansions that are occurring every millisecond. So new lives keep coming. Because that's just what creation does, continues to do, will do, and has done ever since creation began. It's the act of that instant that began trillions of years ago, continuing to still go on. It's never stopping, it's chain reaction. The Earth may explode someday, doesn't mean that there's not thousands or more other Earths out there, currently or yet to come.
Yeah, it's not that it's never stopping, it's going to stop. Entropy's at work here, so nothing can last forever. So be assured that the whole universe will be, there'll be a heat death of the whole universe. That's already been predicted by physicists. They've seen it. Why? Because nothing can retain its energy forever. No thing can retain its core energy forever. The sun will burn out. Everything will burn out. So what's wrong? Why are you stressing over all of the stuff in the middle? Only because we're finite beings and we've got a very short lifestyle that we dramatize and stress over all of these things. Take the bigger picture, pull back and look at the whole picture. Look at 10 trillion years in the future, or 100 trillion, or 1,000 trillion. It will be gone. Everything will be gone. So try to maintain that perspective. I know it's difficult within the little capsule that we are, the flesh suit that we're wearing, but try to exit that flesh suit even for a minute in meditation and you'll see there's no need for stress. It's all going to run out of energy, the whole thing. You're right, it does repeat, there is complexity, and it seems endless, but it's endless for sure. Because everything is finite. Everything is finite. No thing can live forever, exist forever.
Okay, so then he says, but the spirit is the one thing above all that. It exists beyond all that. It existed before all this. It's in us and it leaves us and goes back to it when we die. And the understanding we will have there will make the understanding we're scratching the surface of here in our human lives look like a speck on an electron in the middle of a universe. Right. Some beings don't even reach that much in life. Some beings don't reach any. Some beings just seem to know something without even questioning anything. But we all know, we will all know it when we escape our living containers. That's right. And I believe there will be judgment there when we do. This is an interesting part. I believe, although this...
There'll be no one to know anything when you leave your...
Sorry, say that again?
There'll be no one to know anything when you leave your physical container, so don't hold on to that either. There will be no... Yourself and your consciousness will cease when you die. So that's why the emphasis must be on living now while you've got the consciousness. Don't distract yourself with all these bigger concerns. You've got to focus on yourself now. Bespoking a beautiful life for yourself while you're in the container. You're only in the container for a little while, so why project out the container when you're in it? There's plenty of time to not exist afterwards. So exist now with full vigor. Get on with bespoking your life. This consideration is really futile because why are we speculating about these things? Surely there's not enough time even to live properly here. So focus on your life here now. Bespoke a beautiful life for yourself. It takes all your time and effort to do so.
Okay, I don't think you're going to agree with the next bit. But yeah, he's saying, and I believe there will be judgment there when we do.
No.
I believe, one second, let me just finish it. I believe this paragraph. I believe although the spectrum is extremely vast and complicated, there is such thing as right and wrong. the spirit can go rotten, and once it does and returns, the great spirit can send it back to life, a life not so kind. For how else can you rationalize why some spirits are born into some lives and not others? A life better situated as opposed to a horrid life in the human world or animal world. How can you possibly rationalize it other than that spirit is born into exactly what being it was meant to? Because of the degrees of past wrongs committed, the type of next life starting point is decided. See, this stuff I personally think
That's
is
fine. We can entertain it. I can entertain it by saying simply this. Okay, so let's suppose for a minute that reincarnation is the thing. It does exist. So what's the emphasis again? It's the same thing I just said. You have to live your life well. You have to live your life well. See it as a game. And the game is to live as well as you can, meaning as compassionately as you can. That would cancel out your return. According to the Buddhists, if you live perfectly and you reach nirvana, which means snuffing out extinction, extinction of what? Extinction of dissonance, meaning all kinds of dissonance. The way you treat people must be looked at. Evaluate every day. That's what I try to do. When I go to bed at night, could I perform better? Where did I go wrong? Did I walk past someone who needed some food? Could I have given them the food? Of course I could have. Why didn't I? Well, I was distracted. See? Just go through your whole life like that. Every day's a test. Just do 24-hour cycles. Don't look too far because we don't know how long we're going to live. So try to maximize the time you're spending every day. Make every day perfect. Then you're stacking up good karma, so to speak. And that will neutralize your bad karma, and it will neutralize your coming back here. I believe all coming back is to do with desire anyway, and unfinished business. So finish your business, and then it will be neutralized. It will be zero when you leave. You should be zero when you leave. There should be no dissonance. When you leave, everything should be good, balanced out good, and then you've got the best chance of not coming back here. See, that's the Buddhists agree. You see, your job is to try to live as well as you can to cancel bad karma. And the bad karma is what? It's bringing you back. It's dissonance in the field. So it has to manifest again.
See, I object to this whole line of reasoning and thinking. I think it's horrible and vile because the whole thing to me is absolutely pointless. The whole thing is pointless.
Of course, but it
right?
might be that we are coming back. He's correct. It might be that that's the game.
Maybe
unresolved energy may have to reassume.
Maybe it does, but to say that people come back into terrible abusive situations, right, in a horrible poverty or war-stricken thing because their parents. The reason why they're coming back is because their parents are having sex and screwing them into existence.
Of course,
and I find this whole idea is absolutely obnoxious. Nobody's asked to be born here, right? And this whole idea, this whole construct, I just find it vile. I find this whole construct vile.
But it could be the case that your action brings you back. See, we spoke about desire, and the neutralizing of desire, detachment. Buddhists talk about detachment. Why? Because it cuts this desire, and the desire is the kind of the pull. If you've got unresolved desire, imagine you die in a state of unresolved desire for anything at all. There's going to be some charge there that's not dissipated, and that charge might recoagulate. It might reform into another being again, and you'll have to go through that again until that desire is discharged.
Yes, okay, and we've spoken about this in different podcasts, and that type of idea I can kind of cope with. But this is, in my opinion, it's a really obnoxious type of philosophy, in my opinion. It's a horrible type of philosophy because it tries to explain away the horrors of existence, right? Secondly, it doesn't explain why the animals are going through all this. Or maybe he'll say, because in the past life you were a nasty human, therefore now you have to be a gazelle and be eaten by whatever it is, right? As a punishment. It's just horrible.
I've directed him back to himself. See, so I don't really consider these things because we don't know.
Right.
So why waste time speculating about things? What you do know is you're here. So bespoke a good life for yourself. You know how to do that. Stop the bad behavior, stand down all of the bad things, assess every day, and course correct. That's it. Or else you'll waste your time considering all these things. I don't consider these things because it's beyond me. My circle of concern is myself, first of all, primarily, and that takes enough time. I haven't got any time for anything else. See, I will widen it as I can to the things that I have got some influence over, but those things I have not. We're just speculating, so I don't enter into that. It's a waste of my time, you see. And I would suggest it's a waste of his time.
Yeah, so
how I approach life is I approach it as a sport, not a sport, the sport. Yeah. So if you look at these, the professional athletes, yeah, they haven't got any time for anything else but their training because they're aiming to be the best at what they do. So what I'd say to this gentleman, the American guy, is just to treat life at the same. Treat it as a sport. It is a sport. It is the sport, I would say. It's far more important than 400 meter running or high jump or long jump or javelin or discus or 100-meter sprinting or whatever. Marathon. You see, it is a marathon, but treat it as a sport. Now, if you want to be the best at any sport, you have to put 100% dedication in. You see, you have to focus on it completely. You train, see, to be the best at what you're doing. So treat life as a sport. You're an athlete. Life is the sport. You're in the arena. We've been born. We're in body. We can't do anything about that. So you haven't got any time to consider the cosmos and all the rest of it. You'll take your eye off the ball or off the javelin or off the discus or whatever it is. But life, you'll take your eye off life. And you can't afford to take your eye off life because you've got to master life. You've got to be the best at it. So that's what I would say to the gentleman who says, what do we do while we're here? Or, I think that was the question he asked. Well, how can we use our time here properly? But that's how I use mine properly. I treat life as the sport. And I want to be.
This is in response to the person that was speaking about reincarnation.
Yeah, that's him. That's who I'm addressing. Yeah, for sure. The American guy. Yeah, I think he's American. Yeah. His wife, and he said his wife chose. That's right. Exactly him. He asked us what we should do with life and how do we enjoy life. It's okay he agrees with the rest of it, but now he's left with this life. He's got to live. He doesn't know how long it's going to go on. It might be another 20, 30. We don't know. But I would say immerse yourself in the sport of life. Treat it as a sport. You want to be the best at it. You have to put 100% effort in. You have to be really dedicated to mastering that particular sport. And I'd say life, as I said, is far, more important than any other sport, tennis or whatever, football, exactly. But you have to take a leaf out the athletes' books. If you look at the top athletes in any arena, in any sport, you'll see how much time they put into their craft. They are craftsmen. They're like priests. It's a religion for them. So treat life the same and you'll find that you won't have any time left for anything else. All this cosmic consideration and divine energy and all the rest of it. I don't have time for that, you see, and we're only speculating anyway. So before you know it, you're towards the end of your life and you still aren't any closer to the truth, so to speak, the cosmic truth. So just focus on life itself and you'll be fine, I think.
Okay, I'm not going to read out a lot of stuff in this email. I'm not going to read it all out because you kind of sort of circumvented it with what you were saying there. But I'm going to just cut to near the end where he says something that I'd like to read. He says, I know you can say something positive, because he started off by saying he feels that I'm too negative. And I know you can say something positive. I've heard you say it. Also, you've done something positive for me. You made me feel like I have somebody else. And I think that in a way, and then he says, and you too do that for each other. Yeah, and that's true. We do feel like, and it's an unusual thing because not a lot of people get each other like we do. And in fact, I can't even repeat most of the stuff that we share with each other because it's so outrageous. And yeah, I couldn't say that a lot of the things that we say to each other in public, but so yeah, so we do that for each other. And I do get a lot of messages that people listen to the stuff that I've come out with over the years or our podcast, and they feel less alone. And that's that I like to hear that. It's good to hear that. Yeah, thank you for that. And he says, these are just some of my thoughts. I hope to hear some of yours and hope they're not too doom and gloom, as you sometimes do that too much, I think. And that's my biggest criticism I have of you. I know you're not wrong. There are horrors here, but is there also the opposite? And do you feel you've earned a place in the Great Spirit when you die? I believe you have. Do you believe something like this exists? And then he says at the end, thanks for the mind opening. Please don't shit too hard on my ideas. They come from a place of vulnerability and exposure, and also trust and friendship and love and respect and gratitude.
Yeah, I get it fully. It's very difficult, the game of life, and especially when you're solo playing it, it's very difficult. So we're lucky enough to be training buddies in the game of life. So we're really helping each other. It's mutual, it's co-counseling. Very fortunate to have each other. There's no one else though, mind you. You see, Danny and I have found each other. There's no one else. I haven't got anybody like Danny. I think Danny hasn't got anyone else like me. We're both kind of in tune, but it was just fortunate. I was in a canoe club. I was training in a canoe club in Richmond. Someone showed me a Love Police video, Danny's previous incarnation with Charlie Veach, where they used to team up and they do their things. And he showed me this video and I thought, oh, that's an interesting guy. I'd like to meet him. The very next day I went to train. Danny was on the street corner with his megaphone. Bang, click. Immediately. And from that time we clicked and boom, there we go. So who knows? You see, this is how the universe works. This is how it all works. We're just very fortunate. But even if you're solo, then you've got YouTube. You have to be inspired by these athletes. As I was saying, take a leaf out the top athletes' books, training books, watch their videos, buddy up with them virtually. Just take it and remember that life is a sport. So if you remember that, then it's really interesting to look at life like that. Every day, try to improve yourself and your performance. So literally your performance in the game of life. It's very interesting. Study the game, see where you went wrong. Always take inventory. At the end of the night, check your performance. Go over it again. Close your eyes and just think, could I have done better? Here, there, what should I have done better? How could I have done better? How can I improve tomorrow? It's a challenge. You see, instead of being defeatist about it, you're right. It is very negative, our message, but life is quite negative. But also we've got, as I said, if you listen back to the podcast, we talk about joy, fun, singing, dance, all the rest of it, swimming, enjoying the sun, etc., etc. So yeah, not all doom and gloom, but I would say that's the best strategy, is to look at life as the sport and then become very proficient at playing the sport. Yeah, so another thing came to mind regarding life as a sport. We said life is the sport. So this is what I'd invite you to try. Strip away everything, almost everything, and then start again and reassemble a life based on the essentials. So you mentioned divine, you mentioned great spirit. Throw those away, take them out for now, put them on the side. Maybe they're dear to you because you've been using them for a long time, but I would invite you to try to live without the great spirit and without the divine, just purely functional, and see how it affects your life. If you find you can't do without those concepts, and they are concepts, they're just constructs, then put them back in. If there's some efficacy to them in your life, I live without those concepts, you see, and it's quite fine for me. I'm quite functional without those concepts. I don't have any need for the divine. I don't have any need for the great spirit, because I am a great spirit. I am divine. So that's how I approach life. I put it into myself. I integrate it in all of these things, see, to empower me so that I carry on. I don't want them outside of me, see, so I'm appealing to a great divinity, or I'm appealing to a great spirit. No, everything, as you said, it's all infused with spirit anyway. So why do you need the external locus of focus? You don't. I would suggest you don't. Take it out and see how you get on. Just purely focus on efficiency, life efficiency. What is needed for me to live efficiently? That's it. And that is a lifetime project, because you're living for a lifetime. So day by day, take an inventory, look at your day, review it like a sportsman would. How can you tweak and refine your performance from that day? And then the next day you implement the things that you saw were good or necessary. You eliminate the things that were holding you back. Thus you proceed, day at a time, 24/7, 365.
And then that circles fully back to children. It's like, if you haven't got children right now, yeah, why do you need them? Right? Strip away the idea of having children, right?
And it is an idea. It is simply an idea that you need a child. It's popped into your head from somewhere. We know it's DNA programmed in. DNA wants life to continue. It wants it to continue in meat. It's got a penchant for meat. So this is what it is. But you're already here. You're here already. There is one meat suit already in existence. Perfect that one. That's what I'm saying. Try to live as best you can without bringing anyone else into the mix. You don't need to, because you've got the inner child there. It just needs nurturing. That's all. You've already got one on board. See, without bringing another one. It's unnecessary, see? The idea needs to be examined. Why do you need a child? Why, when you've already got one inside? See, that's the question to ask. Why do you need an external child, another one, when you've already got one in? See? Why breed when you've already got an inner child to feed? Done. Very simple, but it's nobody analyzes their thoughts, their desires.
And it's a very inefficient way of living.
Of course, because it's draining your resources. Not only draining your resources that you need for yourself, to nurture yourself, to parent your inner child. What about the finance? What about, think of all the things you need once a child comes in. All the money you need. All the things you need to provide that child. When you're already here, there's already a child here. It's already got to an age of maybe, I don't know how old, 20, 30. There it is. It just needs focus, that's all. So that you can perform perfectly as a little child. Bring the little child up perfectly. You've done your job. You've done your job. Your parenting job's fulfilled. Finished. Without bringing someone else into the mix that requires a whole new set of resources, a whole new set of everything. Think about it. You're doubling up. It's ridiculous. It's inefficient. Totally inefficient. And also, there's children already there. If you insist, they're already made children that already been made. And then thrown away, take one of those. If you really want to do the job and you think you're qualified to do the job, which you're not, say, absolutely not, then try it with someone who's a child that's already been made.
Yeah, no, this apartment, this whole section of this whole podcast, this particular one, is aimed at, I think it was Thomas is his name, and he's already said that he's was fortunate enough to find a woman that was steadfast in not bringing kids here, and instead they're looking after rescue dogs, which is also a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, it is for sure. If you've got the time to do it. So don't forget, you need a lot of time to develop yourself, you see. So the focus has to be on yourself first. You have to be an efficient being first. So then you can look at maybe helping others, you see, but first sort yourself out, tune yourself completely. So there's no question. You asked the question, what should we do with our lives? See, what's the meaningful life and what should we do with our time? Well, I've told you, that's what I do with my time. It's a self-development program, my whole life. And you're refining every day. You're aiming towards perfection, and that's pulling you along. You may not reach perfection, of course, but it's there. See, there's something to pull you along. That's your focus is on perfection. And then, of course, there's daily increase, daily improvement. It's very good. It's lovely. You get feedback, and that gives you the boost that you need. Yes, I'm going off course. Now I've corrected. Wonderful. You get that beautiful release of dopamine. You feel powerful. You've corrected something that might have been entrenched for 10 years, a habitual pattern. See, that's why you must always think. So use meta thinking. Metacognition, always rise above yourself and look down upon your performance, or else you're lost in the game. You're completely immersed 100% and you would have no higher perspective. So you must develop that discipline where you always at the night time come out of yourself, look down upon your poor performance from the day before, and then course correct. That's it. That's all that life's about. All animals are doing that. They're trying to improve their performance so they can get more food and survive without being eaten. So they're learning from previous mistakes if they're lucky enough to live. If you're lucky enough to live through your mistakes, then you should improve on the back end of that. It makes you stronger. And this is the game. It's just a game. It's a sport. Life is the sport. All the rest of it, all the Olympics and all of this stuff, it's just offshoots. But it's really life. Life is the ultimate Olympics. Look at it like that. And you want to be a gold medalist. You want to be a champion of life. So get on with looking at how you can make your life very efficient. Cut out the rubbish and focus on the good stuff.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to, despite what you said about the positives, I'm going to have to put a dampener on that because, yes, it is a sport. And yes, it is the sport. But it's just like all other sports, completely meaningless and come to an end and will be wiped all out. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter how good you get at life, it's going to be all wiped out. And therefore, at the same time as being positive and, looking at and reviewing your life and all that stuff, don't make someone else have to do it, right? Do not bring someone here so that they have to go through this whole thing because it's painful, it's difficult, it's challenging, right? And they may not have what it takes to do it. Many people don't have what it takes to do it. It's all very nice you saying all this stuff, but many, maybe most, maybe the overwhelming majority do not have what it takes to do it, even if they knew that life was a sport. So don't bring anybody here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just addressing the commenter. He asked, what should he do with himself? And what's the best way to live? Let's be a bit more positive, he asked. Well, that's it. That's the positivity I've got to offer. Treat life as a sport. That's all I can say. That's all you can do once you're in the meat sack. Once you're in the meat suit, we're here. We're entrapped. We're incarcerated in flesh. Now what? That's what he's asking. Is it all doom and gloom? No, not if you treat it as a sport. If you treat it as a sport and you're a player, you're a contestant in the sport, in the game of life, there we go. That's all you can do. Or you check out if you want to be, if you've had enough and you, like Danny said, some people here who can't make it, okay, they're gone. Nature will eliminate them anyway. So that's it. Unfortunately, this is the hard truth. Not everyone's going to live here. It's a hard game. It's a hard sport. Look at Olympics. Not everybody's wins. Loads lose. They can't do it. They can't meet the mark. They don't train hard enough. They give up. They haven't got what it takes. That's it, unfortunately. It's hard. The game's tough. What can you say? But that is the positive. The positive is to become positive about it. You have to drum up some positivity. Put one foot in front of the other. Live with purpose. See it as a game. You want to try and win the game, so to speak. Win the game. Be efficient at playing the game. See, ultimately you're a loser because we all die. But so what? It's the time in between you're asking me about, I think. What can we do with the time in between? We are all going to be wiped out. It is ultimately futile, for sure. But the commenter is asking, what can we do in the meantime? See, it's a relative truth I'm talking about. The ultimate truth is that we're all going to be wiped out. It's futile. But then what do? Just kill ourselves? Because it's futile, we just check out. We can. People do. I'm suggesting something else because you asked for something positive. This is the positive. Treat life as a game. It's quite an interesting game once you treat it as a game. You can improve daily. That's the positive. You'll see daily improvement. You'll drop masses of stuff that you thought was essential. I would suggest the Great Spirit and the Divine. See, try to live without those. As I said, they're constructs that you've picked up from someone. When you were a child, you had no awareness of Great Spirit or Divine, and those concepts were given to you. Now you're focusing on them and elaborating them and trying to find out what's going on. What's the Great Spirit? What are we here for? No, we're here to perform perfectly. That's it. We're here to perform efficiently. That's it. As animals, as meat sacks, we're here to perform efficiently. Focus on that and it will give you great rewards.
I think maybe someone might, I could imagine my wife, for example, objecting that you're not really speaking much about service to others here. You're just saying, basically.
Did you read or
what would you say about serving others?
Well, I'd always say to everybody, look, sort yourself first before you think of serving others, because you'll pass on your own stuff. You'll pass on all your insecurities, all your crooked thinking, all of your concepts. You'll exchange. By osmosis, you'll transfer them. You'll infect others. So I say, first sort yourself. You can incorporate some simple service if you want. You can give homeless people some food. You're not going to do any harm with that. No problem. Nothing wrong with that. See, anytime you see somebody and they need something, give it to them if you've got it. No problem.
You can volunteer.
Or you can volunteer if you want, if you've got time. See, outside your self-development program. It depends how deep you are in your particular hole. You see, people haven't got time, I would suggest. Not a lot of people have got the time. You see, if you're middle class and you've got a lot, maybe you've got some time, but if you're working class and lower working, you haven't got time. You need heaps of self-development to get out the hole. See, you probably had dysfunctional parenting, all that kind of stuff, and you need to get that all sorted because you're angry, bitter, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and you need to level all of that. Then you've got enough luxury. It's a luxury to have the time to help others, really, when you're deeply in a hole yourself. Depression, all these things, you see, very dysfunctional, most people, very dysfunctional and mixed up. So they need to sort that out first, I would say, before you look at others. Again, like the t-shirt slogan I've got, see, why breed when you've already got an inner child to feed? You need to feed that inner child first, so it's nourished. Then you're on strong grounds, your foundation is strong, then you've got enough energy and resources to help others. But you can do simple service. Simple. So if you've got the means to, you can give some food to some homeless people if you see them and they need food. Not money because they spend it on drugs most probably. So give them what they need, food. They're asking you for money for what? For food. Most time it's for food. When you press them and say, look, what do you need the money for? Oh, I need to get some food. Okay, let me get you the food. Let me get you a sandwich. Let me get you something. See, that's it. So you can do that if you've got the resources. If you haven't, focus on yourself first. When you're sorted, then you've got enough time and energy and resources to help others.